This is Kathy Pabst Robshaw with the Telephone Effectiveness Company. Today we're going to talk about to script or not to script. The talk today is really about business-to-business telephone marketing or telephone selling, not business-to-consumer. The big difference is business-to-consumer is a telemarketing, or the mass calls, the volume of calls that air conditioning company use, or perhaps carpet cleaners use. They just rattle through phone numbers. People are not trained, they're highly scripted and very boring. So we're talking about business-to-business phone calling. We were looking at planned phone calls. The pre-planning that goes into these business-to-business calls is something that needs to be paid attention to. Pre-planning the market you're calling, who you have to call, decision maker or decision influencer, why you're making the phone call is also important, and what the objective needs to be. So we're pre-planning who we're calling, what we're going to say, and what the outcome is supposed to be in that telephone call, because outcomes will vary enormously. The two areas that I encourage clients to focus on in scripting or making phone calls is very much communication skills and sales skills from their people that make calls. The second area to look at, and that's really important, is do they have the right product or service knowledge or training? That's a very critical part of that telephone operation. Let me give you an example, a fun one if you don't mind. We, in London, when I had my call center, we had to call farmers to talk about an agricultural product. Now, London kids don't know about farms. So we rented a bus, put them on the bus, went out into the country, traipsed around the farm so they could have a feel for the farmers, what their life was like when they ran for the phone, what they had to go through, why they weren't available. It made the calls that much more honest and clear and successful.
Got it. Go.
So that investment in staff, time, and knowledge is a very, very important part of the operation that you can't ignore. Think about a script as a call guide or a roadmap, or in today I should say a GPS system. It's kind of a way to get from A to B with maybe some side roads that you need to give the people the knowledge about. So reading from a script from a business-to-business perspective fails miserably. Callers or the decision maker you're calling will be bored. They will know that you don't know what you're talking about, and they will most likely hang up. So investing in that knowledge and in that roadmap and in those call guides is a very, very, very important part of the operation and of what the person is doing. Heavy scripting, as I said, B2B, business to business, is not effective. Looking at adding the communication skills, sales skills, questioning technique, pre-qualifying questions, so that the caller knows that you want to help them and you're with them and you're on their side, on their team as well. Okay. So we talk about pre-planning. We're talking about cold calls, follow-up, people that you may have met at a networking event. We're also talking about maybe calling lapsed customers. So we're planning what we're going to say to each of those people, each of those markets separately and individually. When we talk about using a roadmap, besides talking to knowing what to say, when to say it, we're talking about getting through the gatekeeper. That's a big, big difficult issue for a lot of salespeople over the telephone. We're also talking about being able to talk to any level person in the company. The influencer or decision maker, having the same level of confidence, commitment, and knowledge with each of those individuals. So what we do with telephone effectiveness is we assess, monitor, prepare workshops, and also coach individuals who have to use some kind of call guide to make phone calls.